Hi, this is Tim Cross with IT Coaching, and I'm going to do a real quick video here for you on Windows and the Windows operating system. Now, for those of you who are tech savvy, this is going to be about as boring as can be. So you don't need to watch this. This is for people who aren't quite up to speed on some of this information. But here goes. You know that for the most part, most of the computers are running on Windows operating systems. There are other operating systems. You can get IBM's AIX desktop system. That's usually in a commercial setting and for businesses, so that doesn't apply to most of us. You can get a Linux box to run Red Hat, which is the most popular system. Red Hat is headquarters in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. Very good operating system, and highly recommend that. And there are other distros or flavors of Linux that you can buy, Ubuntu and Debian and other things like that. But most of us are running Windows operating systems on our PCs and at our place of work. And if you're running Windows XP, or if you're running Windows Vista, shame on you, because you're going to have a lot of problems with that. Let's put it this way. Windows XP, Service Pack 3, the end of the mainstream support was April 14th, 2009. So that tells you how long the XP's been around. And what the mainstream support means is, simply put, I'm going to read right off of the Microsoft website. Mainstream support, Microsoft will offer mainstream support for a minimum of 5 years from the date of the product's general availability. Well, the general availability is long past. They will, though, update Windows XP. Their end of extended support was April 8th, 2014. Well, that's almost 2 years ago. And that was announced, and for those of you who are working with XP, it's probably working just fine. But what it means is Microsoft does not look at any flaws in the operating system and upgrade it or update it with new features of systems that were involved with the XP. That was April 8th, 2014. So you're using something on an old machine, and really you can't even put Windows 10 on that machine because the old machines don't have enough memory. The CPUs are not powerful enough, and you don't have a lot to work with. So you still have your XP. Good for you. Unfortunately, you need to think about buying a new computer. You can get a fairly good computer these days for around $600. You can get them for $300. But if you want what I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, John, you want something in the area of an Intel i5 minimum. He's nodding his head. He's trying to be off the video today. Intel i5 processor, that's minimum. If you get an i3, it's not going to work well for you. And if you get an i7, more to you. That's good. But the thing about an i7 between an i5 is you're going to pay a couple $100 more for that. So buying a new computer, minimum Intel processor i5, and you can get fairly good at a fairly good price for that. Now you want 8 gigabytes. In my opinion, you can get 4, but you want 8 gigabytes of memory in that system in order to run what you have. Is it going to be plenty? For the most part, unless you're a serious gamer, something like that. Let's talk about Vista for a moment. Let's get some of this out of the way. Vista, Windows Vista, Service Pack 2, went out of mainstream support April 10th, 2012. Now, again, that's almost 4 years ago. And their extent Their extended support date is April 11th, 2017. So we got a little more than over 1 year before the Windows Vista extended support is gone. Again, if you're running Vista and you need to run Vista because of your hardware, good. But start putting away that money so that at some time in the next 12 to 18 months, you're getting yourself an Intel processor. i7 is going to be probably where you're going to head by next year. And again, Windows XP and Vista by next April, done. There's not going to be any support, which means Microsoft won't have any patches or security updates for you. And you're not going to want that kind of operating system anyway because of the new applications that are coming out. I use Adobe products. I pay a monthly fee to have their whole suites. Their suites involve a good number of things. Their Photoshop is included on that. For anywhere between $20 and $50 a month, you can have Adobe Photoshop, and it's always updating. I've had Photoshop a good number of times, and every month there seems to be an update for that. So I'm not using outdated software, which is a big concern for a lot of us. Let's move on to Windows 7. Windows 7 Service Pack 1. I'm filming this today, January 13th, 2015. Pardon me. I had to look at it again. January 13th, 2015. That was a year ago. And it seems like 2007 just came out. 2007 has been here for over 5 years. That's hard to believe. Time flies. And the extended support for the Windows 7 is going to be January 14th, 2020. So this is January 13th, 2016, 4 more years. And you say, well, you know, that's a long time. Well, not in computer age. 4 years, and you're spending hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on hardware. And in 4 years, you're going to have to do it again. It's almost like a car where you have to spend good money. The next thing you know, a couple of years goes by, and you're practically just throwing it out the door into the garbage, and all that good money's gone to waste. Well, before we talk about anything else, let's just move right along. Windows 8, and this is 8.1 that we're talking about. The mainstream support for that is January 9th, 2018, and this is January 2016. It seems like Windows 8 was just out, but nevertheless, it's been 3 years since Windows 8.1. So January 9th, 2018, and the extended support now is January 10th, 2023. So that is a good deal of time. But remember those offers of the free Windows 10 upgrade and you didn't take it? John, correct me if I'm wrong. Do we still have an opportunity to upgrade to 10 free?
Yeah, as long as it's still a legit copy of 7 and 8.
So as long as you have a legitimate copy with good registration keys on your 7 and 8. Now, what if you're like me and you've gone ahead and you've gotten rid of that little icon in your tray down in the bottom right-hand corner there that said upgrade me for free, and you're like me and you said no, go away, and now the button's gone. How do you get your free upgrade from Windows 8 to Windows 10? Right off the top of your head, you don't know? I'll tell you what.
You still have to do the update and wait for it to pop up there. If you didn't do that, you'd have to go to the store and you'd have to download the upgrade so that you can then put in your legit key.
Put in your legit key. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do a whole session. How about that? We'll do a whole session of upgrading, especially if the button is gone and it's not there just to click on it and have it upgraded. But Windows 10 release now, we have a date on that. It's far enough away because July of 2015 is when the release is dated. So usually it's a 5-year period of time, and your mainstream support for Windows 10 is going to be well into October 13th, 2020. And then the extension of that is another 5 more years, so October 14th, 2025 for Windows 10. However, having said all of this, you need to go out, if you haven't, and I realize some of you have spent good money, really good money, and you bought computers this summer, 2015, or maybe even last year and the year before, 2014. You spent $800, $900, $1,000. Unless you had the best of the best back then, you need to consider, unfortunately, in buying a good computer with an Intel processor of at least an i5 and an i7, if you can put $200 more into the budget, all right, with a minimum of 8 gigabytes of memory in that. Now, let's talk about something that is been going on a great deal lately, and yet a lot of people may not be aware of this. When you're buying, hi James, you're on camera, so shh. When you're buying your computer, all of us were getting hard drives. We were getting 1 terabyte hard drives, 2 terabyte hard drives, 4 terabyte hard drives. Well, how far are we up to now? Have I seen 6 terabyte hard drives? I believe I have.
I think mainstream only 4.
4 for mainstream. There are larger hard drives. However, for most of us, we see 4 terabyte hard drives. And we have 1, 2, maybe even more hard drives. And we have external hard drives to back those up and whatnot. Here's the thing about them. And you knew that there were different speeds on your hard drives, 7,200 RPM and in the 5,000 range. Myself, with the kinds of things that we're doing here, are finding that the speed in which the data with our CPU is writing to these hard drives at 7,200 RPMs is clogging up the speed of my computer. It delays enough that we have to get to faster hard drives. You can now buy solid state hard drives, and they come in different sizes and whatnot. But if you're going to be using a great deal of data collection, I'll give you an example. In our store here, we have security, and as the cameras are streaming video from looking out at the store and making sure that everything is secure at night when we're not here, that information is being recorded onto the hard drive. And now we can do it over the internet and record to a computer somewhere else. But as it's recording onto the hard drives here, the speed in which it takes that data and writes that information onto standard hard drives at 72 RPM, 7200 RPM, is clogging up the operating system. And now with the technology to put a solid state hard drive, you're able to achieve, and I'm just trying to be honest here, keep me honest, John, that the solid state hard drives would be the equivalent of at least double that. 15,000 RPM.
15 to 20,000.
15 to 20,000 RPM for your solid state drives. I've purchased solid state drives, and I can tell you that the performance far outweighs what some of these conventional hard drives are doing. So let's wrap this up a little bit. This is information, again, for you tech-savvy people, not something that you really want to know. But for the average person who's looking to buy something, we're looking for an i5 Intel Pentium processor. Any i5, you can get different speeds, of course, but you want the i5. You want a minimum of 8 gigabytes, and possibly you'll want to get a solid state hard drive. If you do those three things, apart from some of the other hardware issues that you can get at, such as the cache of your video, especially if you're playing video games, and your internet, maybe your Wi-Fi at home, whether it's 2.4 gigahertz or 5 or even more, the range of your Wi-Fi is critical. I have a lot of my kids at my house, since we have cell phones and laptops and tablets, complain about the speed of my Wi-Fi. So I'm going to have to upgrade that. Not to mention the Wi-Fi extenders, because there's a good deal of distance sometimes from where the router is. So let's just wrap it up real quickly, and we'll do another video after this with more hardware issues. But those three things, your i5 Intel Pentium processor with a minimum of 8 gigabytes of memory, and if you get a solid state drive to go along with that, and run your Windows 10 operating system, you should be good for 10 years. Now I qualify that depending on what you're doing on your computers. The extended support is going to be till October 14th, 2025. Now, off camera, John is saying 4 years, and that's because the mainstream support for the Windows operating system is October of 2020, so 4.5 years is correct. And of course, Windows wants to keep up to date with the speeds of the computers and the performance, so they're going to come up with Windows whatever, Windows 15, Windows 20, Windows 11, something like that. But I hope this has helped you out, because this, in a nutshell, is giving people an idea. This is helping people determine what money to spend and on how much of performance that they need out of their computer. So those are the criteria. I'm Tim Cross. Thanks for watching. Check out some of the other videos. I hope they help you. Visit often, and again, have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.